I'm going to just analyze here. So this one we have is we have shaper, we have plant, we have resource investigator, we have team worker, we have coordinator, implementer, and CF, and what we call monitoring evaluator. What is missing is no specialization and no coordinator. What we think will be the strength and weaknesses. Look also in the numbers. We have quite a few shapers and quite a few 2 resource investigators and 2 implementers. So these are the more popular and more dominant roles within the team. So what are strengths and what are the weaknesses? If you have a combination of shaper, resource investigator, and implementer,
this team seems to lack ideas, why this spend.
This one.
This one is build.
Well, may not be, we don't know the many
Specialists.
You don't have specialists?
No specialists, and the ideas in the narrow front or the bigger scope is not that sufficient.
Okay. They have ideas but not deep enough.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? Any other? There's one coordinator. And this is specialization is the only missing. So it's almost a well-rounded team like that one. But and that one is very well-rounded. It's like each role has got 1 or 2 persons only. So it's very well distributed. Over here we can see some patterns evolving. It's almost well-rounded. The only thing we lack is a specialist, which is okay if we are not R&D. So we don't need to go into R&D. This is a thing, right? So it's not R&D team. Everything else it should be okay. Now what we can do is look into the roles with more people. So we have more shapers, we have more resource investigators, and we have more implementers. Now, on the one hand, it's easier for us to see what are the weaknesses of the team. On the other hand, the whole idea of all this team role is to look into what are the strengths, because we want to maximize the strengths more than just looking at weaknesses. So if you have the strength of the driver, you have the strength of the resource investigator, and you have the strength of an implementer, you push for results. You also get around new ideas or steal other people's ideas and get opportunities, and then you implement. What do you think will be the strength? Profit. Typical sales team, right? So you drive people, you meet people, and you have implement. So if this were to be a sales team, it will be very strong. So that is one way. Now we can also build onto this. What else is necessary in a sales team? Now, sales, besides selling to customers, the difference between the top salesperson and a good salesperson, the difference between a great salesperson and a good salesperson is not in selling skills. The difference is how the great salesperson coordinates the resources of your own company. Right? Because the sales, you only tell the customer what you need, I can sell you whatever, but I will still need to work backwards in my own company, in my own organization, whether it's, do you need a different packaging? Do you need customization? Do you need to have advanced delivery? Do you need to have different payment structure, payment terms? These are the things that I, if I were a salesperson, I need to work and coordinate with my internal people. So you need the coordinator. Okay, so also if sales is a primary function, then the typical non-sales role. The typical non-sales role, like we have Min here, who is completer finisher and also a monitor evaluator. how Min can fit into the sales team, maybe not going out there to make sales calls, but he can actually vet through different proposals. Are we pitching at the right price? We want to evaluate, are we too high, too low, just nice? Are we pitching the right configuration, the right customization? We need to analyze, see that, based on what customers want, based on what we can do we have the right match? So we can have someone to evaluate proposals. We can have someone to make sure that the delivery and after sales is done in a complete, what we call perfect way. So it may not be the salesperson out there in the sales team, but someone to make sure that there is sanity in the sales team, right? We are also having someone who is supportive to make sure that the sales team, sometimes too many shapers will fight one another. Right? If the team has got too many shapers and that the what I call the directions are different, the goals are different, especially in the sales team. The key conflict in any sales team is you are going after my customer. This is my customer. Why are you touching my customer? And then I will fight with you. Okay, so this is the typical conflict between salespeople. So if you have someone who is a supportive team worker, what this person will do is don't fight, be nice, be gentle, love one another, give each other a hug, and be nice to one another. Okay, so they will have that supporting role. And of course, you can get people with ideas, different ways of approaching customers, different ways of doing things. So if this is if you see a team like this, definitely this is not according to our topic today. We are unlikely to be a technical team if we have just drivers and resource investigators and implementers. Right? So this is unlikely to be a technical team. It's more like a sales-driven team, or someone who needs to go up there and get ideas. Now, if you were to build a technical team, and this is the chart that we have. What are the people that you need to change? If you can just change one kind of person and make this into a technical team, what do you think will be the one change you can do to this and make this into a more technically inclined team?
With a few shapers here, we can try to see which one is more tend to change to be a specialist.
Okay, so we need specialists, maybe. Depends. Not all technical teams are specialists. R&D teams need specialists, but technical teams may not be. There are certain things here that go on technical teams. Let me give you a hint. Technical teams, you need me. You don't want to play with something that could potentially create explosion, right? So it could be dangerous, could be toxic, could be. You don't want to experiment too much, right? So you need someone with the analytical view. So this is needed. Technical teams, depending on what kind of technical, if it's manufacturing, process-oriented, implement processes, this is a strength. Right? Technical teams, if you need to get people get things done, the shaper is also a strength. And if you need to get the quality control really, really good, then computer vision is a plus. So these are some of the technical things. Not all technical teams have to be specialists. The more research-driven ones tend to be, but not all. So it depends on what kind of job role you're looking at. Yeah.
The CJ, you put someone not in this M. How can we call it M? Is it M?
I mean, it's a monitor evaluator.
Monitor evaluator.
Yeah. So the reason that it's out is because it's not an opposite of any role. It's not. There's no clear opposite of any role. So it's outside of that circle here. Okay, so if you want to swap someone and have more of any role, what I can do is to fire me. So if you get rid of me, send me to other groups, maybe here. someone, I'm being fired. Okay, and you rehire someone. It can be fire and hire. It can be also job rotation. So it doesn't have to be that bad. Okay, so doing this doesn't mean that you have to fire people. You can train people. You can exchange from other departments or other teams. So you can swap people around. So I send to other teams, and you can import from other teams someone who is maybe someone who is good here. Right? You have more quality control, and someone who is good here. So I have, if that's the case, I will have the shaper who will make sure that things are being done, get things moving. I will also have some analytical person to evaluate if I want to configure certain things, is it reasonable? And then I also have someone who checks quality control. And so that if I configure in that situation, I may have a team who will be more focused on manufacturing, or more production oriented, or more technical. Make sense? So it's a matter of what kind of roles are you putting the right people in the right role for the right purpose. We mentioned about perfect teams. There is also no one perfect team for all situations, for all jobs. Different jobs under different situations will have their own perfect teams, but there is no one perfect team for all situations. Make sense? Yeah. So this is just an idea how you can place the right field. Again, if you want to go one step further, you can actually get the assessments. Some things, one, price. It's not that cheap, not that expensive. One person, the assessment is the English version costs about 390 RMB. Price is standard. I'm not making out of it. It's the price that I'm paying to the supplier as well. It's whether you buy or I buy, it's the same price. About 390 RMB. The Chinese version, because it's being translated, so there's a translation cost, is 450 RMB per person. Okay, so that's if you want to know, that's the kind of pricing, the Belbin assessment. What is also different with the Belbin assessment from other assessments is most other assessments you just key in a questionnaire. It's from your perspective. The Belbin one, you key in your own. After you key in your own answers, there'll be a box that will jump out and ask you to input some emails of other observers. So you can have, you need to have a minimum of 4 and a maximum of 8 different observers who will observe you in the different roles. And of course, they won't ask you in the questionnaire, are you a shaper, are you a plant, are you something. They will just use some adjectives, some some descriptive words. Are you impatient? Are you do you have a lot of? Are you creative? Are you communicative? So there will be a lot of descriptive words, adjectives, for the observer to just take for you. Okay, so once you take, the system will churn out what is your score, what is your observer score. We'll combine both score and have a more accurate, all-rounded picture of who you are. It's one of the, to my knowledge, is the only assessment tool that has a 360, as in an observer role to observe you, to assess you. The time taken, in case you are very busy, time taken person for the assessment, for your own, it will not take more than 15 minutes. It will be less than 15 minutes. So even if you are the monitor evaluator who needs to analyze things, to come and answer, 15 minutes is maximum. If you are the shaper, if you are the resource investigator, very quick, 5 minutes is enough. Okay, so that's that. For observers, not more than 5 minutes. But each observer, you need to get observer to help you to do assessment for you. It will be not more than 5 minutes. So if there's something that you want to do, for your teams, let us know. As I said, the assessment, we don't make any money out of the assessment at all. It's just that the assessments can be only purchased by an accredited what we call role facilitator, government role facilitator like myself. That's the only requirement. Other than that, if you want to have tests for you, by all means let me know. How we make money, how I make money is that if you did your assessments and you want to find out how to make your team work, if you need help, additional help in how you can work better as a team, what are things you need to do, what are suggestions to do, we can have a 1 day or 2 day training plus coaching. That's where we add value in addition to just the assessments. Okay, so this is just to make it clear on what are our roles. Now, back to our topic of the day, how we can make technical people into highly effective leaders. So just some general recommendations. Leverage on your strengths. If you are in a certain role, what are some of the strengths of those certain roles? Use your strengths. Be mindful of your weakness. In those roles, what do you overdo certain things? If you're a specialist, are you too much narrow-minded? If you are a completed finisher, like many technical person, are you way too perfectionist and you don't dare to delegate? Right, so these are some of our weaknesses. So know about yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. The next step is, what are your team members' strengths? Can we leverage on the strengths? Can we also have a little bit more diverse group and then relate to different team members on the strengths? So if you are a technical person and you're for example, you're very strong in getting things perfect, completed finishing, but at the same time, maybe you are also being tasked to find out what are the best sources of resources, what are the best ideas outside. Can we find out more opportunities to do certain things? So in your team, you may have a resource investigator who is not very detail-oriented. Right? So can you then understand that this is them, leverage on the strengths, get them to maximize the strengths. They have their weaknesses, they can only control to a certain extent. You may have to get someone else to help them focus on the details. Right? If you get someone who is like me, resource investigator, and by the way, in terms of the assessment of all the 9 roles, my lowest score is completed finishing. So if I want to work with Min will be very upset with me because there will be mistakes. Right? So he's going to hate me a lot if he's my boss. So instead of trying to get me to do the very detailed things, if there's something that I can do to go out there, get resources, liaise with people, coordinate with people, network with something else, get new ideas in, that's my strength. Leverage on that, that's my strength. The very detailed things I can try, like folding arms. Once in a while, I can be very accurate, but it is not sustainable because I'll go back to my dominant role. So if that is the case, is that other completed finishers, or is there someone else who is more detail-oriented than I am, and get those guys to help me with the detailed job? Right? So these are things that as technical managers, you've got to think that human beings is not one machine. Right? The keyword is one and machine. Human beings are not machines. Same inputs, same process, different outputs. That's one. 2 is human beings come in different models. It's not just the same type of things. Human beings has got different roles as well. So you cannot expect one person to do everything. You may not be able to expect one person to do the things you need to be done, because that may not be his or her strengths. Right? If that person is misplaced in your team, that person's strengths is not needed in your team, then maybe you can actually swap to a different person to actually make the team better. Okay, so these are some things that as technical managers you need to be aware of. Okay, so human beings are different. Different people come in different shapes and sizes.
And the question for the composition is there something like a
Ah, thank you for a very great question. Well, different research, different result, different answers. Belbin's research, and again, it's up to you to agree or disagree. Belbin's research, minimum number of team members 3, maximum 15. Right? It doesn't mean your whole department is one team. Your department can be huge. Some departments can have hundreds of people. So teams in Belbin's definition, Belbin's definition is the people that you work closely together towards a common goal, and sometimes you have shared common values and a common understanding. So if it's more than 15 people in Belbin's definition, it's no longer a team. It's a group. It's a department, but it's not a team. So as in one department, you can have multiple teams. Sometimes teams overlap. As in team 1, I have some people who are also in team 2, right? To fulfill different objectives. Okay, so that's Belbin's definition is up to you to agree or disagree and to use it to your own situation. Also some background, since mentioned about Belbin, the teams. The background of all this research is this. In the 70s, there's a UK business school called Henley Management College, right? And what they do is they find that there's a lot of tests on how an individual can perform well. But when you put the individuals in the team, the team doesn't perform well. So they are looking for a solution why certain teams succeed and certain teams fail. Is there a test for teams? So what Belbin did, he was hired, Dr. Belbin, was hired to do the research. So what he did is to get people to play Monopoly, Tafu. And how they play Monopoly is this: instead of playing individually, they get people to play in teams. So if you take a certain piece, instead of you make the decision, you need to discuss your decision with 2 or 3 other people. So small teams, 3-4 persons, play one role in that Monopoly. They call it team monopoly. Team monopoly. So it's 大富翁团队来做每个角色的角色。So and you get people to play for 5 days straight. So that's a lot of observation, and that's how the different roles came about due to observation, to the extent that towards the end, he can just observe people for the first morning, the different teams in the first morning, and then write down on a piece of paper who will be the winning team, and then just keep the paper away. On day 5, at the end, just compare the results, and the results are 80% correct. It's a high level of correct answers, just by observing the team for just one morning. So this is some background, those research. Now, what kinds of leadership do you need? Now, what kinds of, not say leadership, what kinds of team roles do you need? If you are hiring people, assuming that these are people you want to hire, the research is also, if you hire people and if people don't perform to expectations, most of the time it's not because they lack the skills. Most of the time, only of all hiring failures, people you hire and they don't perform up to expectations, only 11% of the time is due to skills. 89% of the time it is due to attitudes, culture fit, team role fit, non-skills related things. So before you hire someone, I mean the skills is definitely required, but on top of the skills, you may also want to look into, well, this is one way of looking at things. This job, this person, do you need that person to seize opportunities, go out there and get opportunities, or do you need someone who needs more deliberate analysis? Either in a way of a perfection way, or in a way of a monitor, evaluate way, more analytical way. So which is which? What is the role you want that person to play? Do you need that person to focus on what is objective? What are the results? Are we result oriented? Or do you need that person to develop relationships? Be nice to one another. More supportive. Okay, what kind of person do you want to have? Do you want to implement concrete solutions, step by step, action plan, follow the plan, execute the plan? Or do you want someone who will give you a lot of abstract ideas? Right, for this new hire. Are you more focused? Do you need someone to be more focused on their work and be in-depth, having in-depth knowledge of their work, going real deep on their work like a specialist? Or do you need to be held accountable for the results of other departments? Do you need to do internal coordination? Right, so you can ask these questions, which by the way are more or less describing the roles here. So you can just reflect. It doesn't mean that whoever you hire has to be the same as what everybody is on your team. Sometimes you may want to go into a little bit of diversification in your team. So when every time you hire someone, you sit back and just think about what kind of roles are you going to have. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And I want to hire a person, and he's a specialist.
Right.
And in the future,
Yes.
I want to give him a chance to be a leader.
Yes.
Is this possible?
Well, again, specialist could be one of his dominant roles. What other roles does he has? Now, usually what we do is we'll look into the top two or three roles. Okay, so that person can be a specialist, but as a leader, again, what kind of leader? More of a driver kind of leader like Steve Jobs? More like a coordinator leader, like we need to delegate work? Or more like a implementer kind of leader, as in putting ideas into actions?
So these three are more leading.
Could be. Could be. I mean, there are different types of leaders. So you can look into what is the future job of that person. What's the current job and what's the future job?
Like leading.
What we can do is this, and this is what we have done. We sometimes take out the job description, and every line in the job description, we try to match it to a role, a possible role. If the job description is vague, like lead the team, manage the team, this is too vague. We need to clarify how do you mean by leading the team? Does it mean giving coaching, giving encouragement? That's also leading. Or does it mean that produce results, monitor milestones, set up milestones? That is also a way of leading. So we need to clarify what are the things that need to be done. And for each line, we actually match it to a different role. Right. So in that sense, we have an idea of what are the roles, or what are the certain dominant roles that this person have to take. Sometimes some job description can be very long and very diverse, which means if you want to fulfill the job, you need to have all the 9 roles, which is impossible. So if that is the case, what we can suggest is, out of this job description, which are the key priorities? Focus on priorities, and the best is to zero into 2 or 3 of the roles that you need. Because the way we analyze, this is a 2-role analysis. Sometimes we have a 3-role analysis, as in your top 3 dominant roles, and your worst weakness, the role that's ranked 9 in a report. If you don't do a report, you probably don't know what are the weaknesses, but you probably can know what are some of your key strengths. It may not be totally accurate, but you probably can find out. Some companies also, if you're doing this in hiring, some things to know. Some companies has got very strict equal employment opportunity rules, which means you cannot use assessments like this for hiring. Some companies you can, some companies you cannot. So in the event that you cannot do that, what we suggest is you can understand more about roles and so on, and make those roles into behavioral interview questions. And so that's a totally different training. There's hiring skills training. One of the skills in hiring skills is called how we ask about behavioral skills. Just as an example, if I want to see someone whether this person is really shaper, can this person be results oriented? In an interview, we can ask them, can you tell me a time when your boss gave you very high targets to achieve, very tough challenge to overcome? So this is one interview question to ask this person and see the response. So if I can get a lot of those shaper type answers, then most probably this person is going to be a shaper. And I can have interview questions featured around the different roles. And I can ask, based on the interview questions, what kind of roles that person is likely to have. Make sense? So they can use the assessments in lieu of that, there are ways to overcome those. Just to bear in mind that your team, you need to have it diverse. Also, bear in mind that sometimes if you're an R&D manager faces the biggest challenge here. R&D managers tend to be very specialized. R&D people tend to be very specialized most of the time. Not all. The typical R&D scientist, engineer tends to be very specialized. The moment you're a manager, sometimes you can be held accountable for the results of other people, and worse still, other teams. We have asked this question when we do leadership training for some R&D teams. We asked that R&D manager, do you see your team or yourself responsible for other departments' results? And this guy, the answer was no. I'm only responsible for my results, not other people. He's a nice guy. He's very professional. He thinks that he's doing the right thing. Whereas in reality, the R&D function, or even the teams within the departments within the R&D unit, has to coordinate with other teams, other functional teams, and sometimes be held accountable for the other teams' results. That's the reality. So it's also to ensure that the technical person has that change in the mindset. Sometimes it can be difficult because the coordinator and the specialist are totally different. Right? You're in opposite ends. So sometimes it may require some training, some switching. In the worst case scenario, you may want to just to be aware of your weaknesses. You're not a coordinator, you're still a specialist. Just be aware that you don't over specialize. Just be aware that sometimes you need to be mindful of other people and other departments as well. So these are some things to be aware of your own weaknesses. You can leverage on other team members to help you work around things. Questions? This is a very quiet group. Possibly we got all technical people, and I don't know, like one was mentioned, more introverted, communicate less, more thinking. I'm actually very impressed with Min, who said he's monitor evaluator, because when I asked what is the opposite of the driver, Min actually came out and said, oh, this is supporter, it's a team worker. But he has been very quiet. We don't know whether he's listening or not. But when time comes to very tough questions, like the process, the information, yeah, it's teamwork. Okay, so this is, in a way, this is how sometimes we expect technical people to behave. It doesn't mean that you're out there. Sometimes we are just processing information. So if you need more time to process all the information that we have given you, do spend some time. Well, we should be emailing you the PDF version of this PPT latest by tomorrow morning, right? And then you can have more what we call written information. Yes.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
Is Belbin model over to a certain extent on, as you mentioned, non-skill state like values like cultural fitness or motives?
I would say that they are non-technical skills, but
Is it come from a different model?
sorry?
I mean,
Yes.
Is this
This is the Belbin team role model.
I mean, does it cover the values, the motives?
It doesn't go into values motivations per se. What it does is that whatever is written here or tested or assessed is a result of your values, motivation, your personality, your external factors, your role as a team member, and so on. So it doesn't go into values, but it actually takes into consideration of all the internal and external influences to the role. And what it means is also that if you were to change jobs, you have a new team. Your role can actually change a little because the team is different, the objective is different, and so on. Some of the, in terms of current users, one of the biggest users of Belbin team role, United Nations. You know, a lot of the UNESCO and so on, they are users. In local aspects, there are a number of internal accredited Belbin role facilitators in Alibaba. Their own staff. Alibaba, being a Chinese company, they want to save money. So how to save money? They send their own people to be accredited and then go back. And then they implement all the tests on their own people, and the internal people can actually do their own facilitation, the kind of roles and what they're doing today. And so this is what I did. Right, you can also do this as, this is the thinking part of what team is. You can combine with your outdoor team building. I don't know if there's any HRs here. If you're HR, you've been tasked to do some outdoor team building, and at the same time, you really want to have better team results, so we can half of all this and analogy, and then we go out there and do some work, do some fun, come back and find out during the fun and games, what did the shaper do to help or to create trouble during the games? What did the implementer did? What did the plant did, and so on in the different games? We can do that. These are tools that we can have different ways of looking at things. Also, if you find that your boss has got some weaknesses, your boss maybe is a micromanager, complete definition, micromanager. Right? If your boss is overly critical, like a monetary development, if your boss has got too many crazy ideas, if you tell your boss, you've got too many impractical ideas, the boss may not be happy. The boss will be very angry, right? So sometimes we use this as a tool for the boss and the whole team, just to find out what are strengths and weaknesses, and it creates a better environment to give feedback to the boss without making the boss angry. And also let the boss accept that, yes, I am a plant, and as a result, some of my ideas are just way too crazy. So I need the help of other team members to give me a sanity check. So these are very things that we can do besides helping our technical people to be better leaders. Other questions?
You have some stats which might show that what are the likely qualities that some of the more successful leaders successful teams point to.
Well, I would say that because the results here are more personal, so it's unless some leaders who are successful and then want to tell people what are the test results, so we don't have the results of specific leaders. But what we can do is from external observation, we can tell certain leaders has got certain traits, and that's why they're successful, and that's why they have some issues to work on. We mentioned about Steve Jobs. Right? Steve Jobs, he's a huge shaker. He also has an eye for details, and as a result, the negative impact is there are people who went there and had a Steve Jobs effect, and after a while left because they could not take Steve Jobs. So this different leaders can use their roles to their advantage in different situations. We also mentioned about Carly Fiorina of HP being overly inspirational. Carly may have failed as a CEO in HP, it doesn't mean that she will not be an effective leader in some other field. So these are the kind of variables that will change. It doesn't mean that you cannot lead a certain team in a certain situation. You are not a good leader. The good thing about this is that you know how you actually place or position yourself so that you can be effective in your team. I hope that answers the question. Other feedback?
What if you have a fixed team, but you don't have headcount hiring people?
Sure.
And at the same time, Belbin is furnishing people in different roles to amplify or prefer.
Sure.
So,
Well, in the worst case scenario, you have a fixed team. They're all homogeneous. They're all the same kind, right? So and they're all the same kind for wrong reasons, and they can't change them. So this is a very worst case scenario. So what this thing does is, at the very least, we know our weaknesses, and we can actually help to avoid the weaknesses of your type of role. So if your weakness is you overanalyze, your weakness is you overdrive people, your weakness is you are inflexible in the different role, we can be aware of that and do less of that. Right? That is in the worst case scenario. Now, what is not so bad, the picture is that even if you have a team and your team members are fixed, you cannot change them if you want to, it is still likely to have some kind of diversity for different people. You may have, like what I said, the management team that I've been through, they've got out of 14 people, 6 of them has got the shape of role. But because we're looking at 2 or 3 key roles or dominant roles, chances are those other second or third dominant roles may have a wider spread. And those roles is something that we can help leverage the strengths of. So that, in that sense, it is unlikely to go into the very worst case scenario that everybody is exactly the same. Make sense? Other questions? Right. No further questions. If you need further information, this is our contact details. Drop us an email, give us a call. If in the event you don't receive the PDF by tomorrow, for whatever reasons, let us know as well. We'll send it over to you. The next event in June is likely to be on sales marketing, which is less applicable for technical people, unless you're like Eric, who's a technical sales. Eric is someone who's technical person, became technical sales, and now technical sales manager. So yeah, it's kind of tough, challenging for a technical person. Right. So it's going to be on Zen and the art of sales and marketing. It's about how companies can overcome the challenge of what I call high expectations of growing sales or sales results when the market is slowing down. It's not like slowing down, but it's not growing as fast, and then when there are more competitors. So that'll be in June. We're still working out the details. So we've got sales role in your company or in the HR, let them know as well. We still have coffee, we still have croissants outside, we still have fruits inside. We've got coffee and tea and croissants outside. So if you want to have better networking with other technical people as well, or you have questions to ask me in private, feel free to do so. Thank you for waking up early in the morning. We hope to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.